In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NBA games happening on January 20th, 2026, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Toronto Raptors versus Golden State Warriors. The Toronto Raptors and Golden State Warriors get together on Tuesday night at Chase Center, and there is a lot more going on beneath the surface than just a simple East versus West matchup on the schedule. Toronto comes in needing a result, while Golden State is trying to steady itself after a sudden jolt to its rotation and its confidence. The Raptors are coming off losses to the Clippers and Lakers, and they have the Kings waiting next. Even with those setbacks, they have still taken 8 of their last 14, which is decent, but not exactly reassuring for a team that feels like it is slipping a bit. That blowout against the Lakers really exposed some of their current weaknesses and made it pretty clear they need a strong response soon. The Warriors, for their part, just beat the Hornets and the Heat, and will see the Mavericks after this one. They have won 12 of their last 16, and they are playing some of their best basketball of the season against weaker opponents, which always helps build rhythm and belief. At home, that confidence has been especially loud. Injuries paint a big part of the picture here. Toronto is still missing Colin Murray-Boyles, Jacoby Walter, RJ Barrett, and Jacob Poeltl, which is a pretty significant list when you look at how many roles those guys usually fill. Golden State is without DeAnthony Melton and Seth Curry, but they are expecting to have Draymond Green back in the lineup after he sat out for rest last night. That return would normally give them their emotional spark and defensive organizer. These two teams last met on December 28, when the Raptors walked out with a wild 141-127 win in overtime. Since that night, though, the paths have split. The Raptors have stumbled and looked shaky, while the Warriors have generally surged and handled business, especially against teams they are supposed to beat. Golden State is on a run beating up on weaker opponents, and they sit at 17-6 straight up at home. Combine that with Toronto's long injury report, and it is easy to understand why the Warriors are favored. On the surface, it looks like a straightforward case of a good home team against a banged-up visitor. Here is where things turn a bit darker for the Warriors. They are an older group playing the second leg of a back-to-back, which is already not ideal. On top of that, Jimmy Butler tore his ACL last night. He was their second leading scorer, and losing him strips a huge chunk of offense and late-game reliability from the mix. Scoring has already been an issue at times, and removing that kind of production raises real questions about where the points are supposed to come from now. It does not help that there is lingering frustration about Kerr not really leaning into Jonathan Kuminga, which makes the offensive outlook feel even more uncertain. The ripple effect on their season is big. The Warriors just got the worst possible news heading into this matchup, with Butler's ACL tear ruling him out for the rest of the year. At 37, this is a brutal blow, and it pretty much crushes any realistic hope of a deep playoff run without him. This is one of the older rosters in the league, with no true replacement for Jimmy's two-way impact. It is not hard to imagine them slipping quickly, maybe as soon as Tuesday against the Raptors, as they try to figure everything out on the fly without their second-best player. Draymond Green's situation adds another layer because he is also dealing with an ankle issue and is listed as doubtful, which means the emotional heartbeat and defensive anchor might not be out there. On the Raptors side, things are not exactly rosy either. Just one win in 4 games has put their hold on the 4th seed in real danger, with the 76ers, Magic, and Cavaliers all creeping up behind them. A win at Chase Center would be huge for their mindset and for the standings. They have actually handled themselves reasonably well against the number in recent matchups, with Golden State covering 4 of the last 5 meetings. That includes the earlier 141-127 shootout win this season. So even if their overall form has not been impressive lately, they have at least shown they can hang with and beat this specific opponent. That is why the spot itself feels so interesting. The Raptors have the rest advantage, and they are stepping into a building where the Warriors are reeling from the loss of their best all-around player and top defender. Even with their own injuries, Toronto gets to face a shocked team that has to adjust its identity almost overnight. If there was ever a moment for the Raptors to come into Chase Center, compete hard, and pull the upset, it is this one. They are very much live in this matchup, despite what the public perception around Golden State's name might suggest. As our first pick for this matchup, the Toronto Raptors to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Raptors are averaging 113.9 points on 47.1% shooting and allowing 112.1 points on 46.1% shooting. From beyond the arc, they shoot 33.9% and they hit 77.4% from the free throw line. Defensively, they allow opponents to shoot 34.4% from three and they grab 43.2 rebounds per game. So their offense is fairly efficient inside the arc, but the three-point shooting is more modest, and their defense, while not elite, is not completely collapsing either. The Warriors are averaging 115.5 points on 45.6% shooting and giving up 113.7 points on 47.2% shooting. They knock down 35.9% of their threes and an impressive 82% of their free throws. On defense, they allow 34.8% shooting from deep and collect 43.5 rebounds per game. Their scoring average is slightly higher than Toronto's, but they also allow a similar amount on the other end, which keeps a lot of their games somewhere in that mid-100 teens range. On paper, those numbers might nudge you toward imagining a fairly open game, with both teams landing somewhere near their season averages. However, the context around this particular matchup suggests that the scoring ceiling might be a little lower than the raw stats hint at. The Warriors just lost their second leading scorer and a huge part of their offensive structure, which almost always leads to some clunky stretches as they adjust. An older team on a back-to-back, figuring out new pecking orders on offense, does not exactly scream free-flowing, high-scoring basketball over 4 quarters. The Raptors, for their part, are not an explosive three-point team. Their 33.9% from deep limits some of the quick burst upside that usually helps push games over higher totals. They also face their own injury issues, which can thin out their scoring options and encourage a slightly more controlled, methodical approach. When both sides are dealing with major absences and at least some fatigue, it is pretty common to see slower stretches, more half-court sets, and fewer extended shooting runs. So while both teams have season-long averages that suggest they can score, the current situation feels more like a grind than a track meet. You have Toronto with average spacing and some key players missing, and Golden State trying to rewire its offense on short notice after a huge loss in the rotation. Those ingredients often combine to keep the final number under what the raw stats might lead you to expect. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Los Angeles Lakers versus Denver Nuggets. The Los Angeles Lakers pay a visit to the Denver Nuggets at Ball Arena on Tuesday night. It has a bit of that strange energy where the name brands pull you one way, but the recent form tugs you in another. The Lakers just lost to the Trail Blazers, bounced back with a strong win over the Raptors, and have the Clippers waiting next. They have dropped 5 of their last 7, so even with that nice performance against Toronto, you would not exactly say they are humming along. Denver beat the Wizards, then got thumped by the Hornets, and they see the Wizards again after this one. Overall, they have still won 6 of their last 8, so in spite of that ugly Hornets loss, their broader trend looks much healthier than the Lakers' recent slide. The injury report adds a twist. Los Angeles is still slightly short-handed with Austin Reeves ruled out. The Nuggets have Nikola Jokic, Jonas Valanciunas, Cameron Johnson, and Christian Braun all out again, which is a big chunk of their usual rotation. The funny thing is that those absences have not really stopped them from stacking wins. The Lakers, for their part, have not been anywhere near their best over the last couple of weeks. They do have the excuse that they have been working key players back from injury, and the big win over the Raptors on Sunday showed what they look like when things actually click. The problem is that they have long stretches where the offense just dries up, and those ruts on the road can get ugly quickly. Denver comes in as the team in better overall form, even with that no-show against Charlotte. Every team throws up a clunker here and there, and getting blown out by the Hornets was one of those head-scratching nights. But it does not erase the 6 wins in 8 games that came around it. Situationally, the Lakers are getting the benefit of the doubt because of Denver's injury situation. You can see why odds makers and the market lean toward Los Angeles as a road favorite when the other side is missing its superstar and several important pieces. However, that has not stopped the Nuggets from competing hard and stealing results, particularly at home. Ball Arena is rarely a friendly place for visitors. The Nuggets are always a tough out there, and they have been quietly solid against the number as a home underdog, going 6-3 against the spread in their last 9 in that role. The Lakers, on the other hand, have been unreliable when favored on the road, covering just 2 of their last 6 as a road favorite. History between these two tilts things even further. Denver has won 7 of the last 10 meetings against the Lakers, which is a pretty strong sample. It suggests that even when the rosters change a bit, the matchup has tended to lean toward the Nuggets. Then there is Jamal Murray. He has really elevated his game lately, and he is a huge reason Denver has managed to keep winning without a full deck. With him driving the offense and the Nuggets already comfortable in this underdog home role, it is not hard to imagine them catching the Lakers during one of those cold stretches and flipping the result. Momentum, home energy, and a quietly effective recent run all support the idea that Denver can punch above what the injury list might suggest. As our first pick for this matchup, the Denver Nuggets to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Lakers are averaging 115.9 points on 49.6% shooting and allowing 116.3 points on 48.6% shooting. They are hitting 34.2% from beyond the arc and 77.6% from the free throw line. Defensively, they allow opponents to shoot 36.8% from 3, and they pull down 41.4 rebounds per game. So you have a team that scores at a healthy clip with very efficient overall field goal numbers, but they also give up slightly more than they score. Their three-point shooting is not elite, yet their high overall percentage shows a lot of success inside the arc, and their defense is leaky enough to keep opponents firmly in the game. On the Denver side, the offensive output has been even louder. The Nuggets are averaging 122.7 points on 50.2% shooting and allowing 117.5 points on 47.2% shooting. They are shooting 40.2% from beyond the arc and 81.7% from the free throw line. They allow 35.6% from deep and are grabbing 43.2 rebounds per game. That is a profile built for high totals. They score a ton, do it efficiently from both the field and the perimeter, and their defense concedes plenty in return. Their rebounding numbers give them second chance opportunities, and their opponents get their share as well. When you pair those two sets of numbers, you get a fairly clear picture. One team sits around 116 points allowed, the other around 117.5, and both are more than capable of living in the 100 teens or higher offensively. Neither side is locking anyone down from 3, and both shoot well enough from deep and from the line that trips to the stripe and kick-out threes can stretch runs quickly. Even with some names missing, the style of play suggests this matchup leans toward a higher scoring environment. The Lakers have those stretches where they struggle, yes, but they also have nights where the offense flows and the efficiency spikes, especially when they are forced to keep up with a team that likes to push the pace in spurts. Denver's recent scoring numbers show they are comfortable in that kind of game, trading baskets and trusting their shot making. Put simply, you have two teams that tend to give up almost as much as they score, shoot at a high percentage from the field, and do not exactly chase a defensive slugfest. In that kind of setup, it does not take a crazy shooting night for the total to climb, just a normal game where both offenses reach something close to their season averages. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Miami Heat versus Sacramento Kings. The Miami Heat head to Golden One Center on Tuesday night to take on the Sacramento Kings. It is one of those spots where recent form and scheduling really tilt things in one direction, even if the names on the jerseys might make you hesitate at first glance. Miami has dropped 5 of its last 7 games. They did manage a solid win over the Thunder, but that sits between some rough outings, including getting hammered by the Warriors last night. Now they have to turn around and play the second game of a back-to-back, still on the road, still searching for consistency. They are also shorthanded again. Tyler Herro is out, and without him the offense often looks a bit stiff and predictable. When tired legs meet a thinner rotation, you usually see more patches where the offense stalls and the defense has to work overtime. Sacramento is coming from a much brighter place. The Kings have won 4 of their last 5, and for stretches, they have looked like a refreshed version of themselves. Even their recent loss to the red-hot Trail Blazers was a close one, not a collapse, which matters for confidence. Keegan Murray is still out with that ankle issue, so they are not at full strength either, but their overall rhythm has been far better than Miami's. You put that next to the schedule spot and things start to line up. The Heat are tired, on the road, and still trying to steady their season. The Kings are at home, playing better basketball, and have had more time to regroup. Honestly, this is exactly the type of game where the rested home team that has been trending up quietly offers more value, especially when the market hangs underdog numbers on them. The last thing to remember is that Sacramento did not suddenly fall apart in that loss to Portland. They just came up short against a team playing very well. So their recent form still points up, not down. When you combine that with Miami's current struggles and the back-to-back spot, backing the Kings at home as a dog makes plenty of sense. As our first pick for this matchup, the Sacramento Kings to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Miami is averaging 119.4 points per game while shooting 46.9% from the field, and they are giving up 117.7 points on 46% shooting. They knock down 36.9% of their threes and hit 79% at the free throw line. On the glass, they collect 45.6 rebounds per game, and they allow opponents to shoot 34.5% from beyond the arc. So the Heat live in that range where they score a lot, but they also concede plenty. Their three-point percentage is solid, their free throw shooting is reliable, and their rebounding numbers help them extend possessions with second-chance looks. That kind of profile rarely points to low-scoring grinders. Sacramento paints a similar, if slightly skewed, picture. The Kings average 110.2 points per game on 46.3% shooting and allow 120.7 points on 49.2% shooting. They shoot 34.9% from deep and 76.2% from the line. They are giving up 4.8% shooting from three according to the numbers, and they pull down 40.6 rebounds per game. The important theme is simple. They score reasonably well, but their defense has been leaky, with opponents finding a lot of efficient looks. That combination, a defense that bends and an offense that can at least keep up, often pushes totals to the higher side. You also have a tired Miami team that may struggle to keep its usual defensive intensity for all four quarters. When legs get heavy, closeouts get slower, and opponents find cleaner shots from the perimeter and at the rim. At the same time, the Heat still have enough offensive talent and structure to put up their usual numbers against a defense that has been surrendering strong shooting nights. On the other side, the Kings have been playing with more confidence and rhythm. Even without Murray, they have shown they can move the ball, find shooters, and lean into their scoring pieces to keep the scoreboard moving. Against a team allowing over 117 points per game, that is usually enough to stay in a higher scoring lane. So you have one team that scores near 120 points per game and gives up almost as much, and another that allows over 120 per night while still putting up decent offensive numbers. That is usually the recipe for a game where both sides see stretches of trading baskets, a few quick runs, and a final total that lands above the projected number rather than below. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.